Yes, I can. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, John, for introducing so diligently. Hello, everyone. My name is Manish Gupta, and I'm currently working as a CFO and in Myanmar. So I'm from India, and I'm working in Myanmar for a large hotel company. So today, with this webinar, with this Business and Industry Connect conference through my CPE, we are going to discuss the six key focus areas of CFOs for 2020 and beyond. So these are the things that I personally will be also looking at when I'm doing my duties. I mean, I'm already being focusing on these areas now already because these will be impacting our 2022 and beyond. So, just to start with this, the first thing that I guess everybody would be guessing is to build a cash burn resilience. Now, why cash burn resilience? Because the current crisis that is happening all over the world, the coronavirus crisis, has impacted many businesses. Some in positive ways, some in negative ways, but everybody is affected, right? So, many businesses like hospitality, where I am working now, airlines, and all businesses related with the travel are impacted. All businesses related with the peoples who have to travel to get it to, right, maybe like industries, malls, shopping complexes, they are all badly affected. The only businesses which are still either maybe you can say positively impacted or flourishing are the digital businesses, where you have delivery business, fintech business, payment businesses, and the necessities, right? Those are drugs businesses. So those are having impact, positive impact, but the rest of us all of have a negative impact. So in 2020 and beyond, we are going to focus on building our cash burn resilience. Now, even though, let's say, the business comebacks, our focus in 2022 and beyond will still be to make sure that we are not coming into the same crisis as we are. Many of the businesses are shut down. Half of the hospitality industry has shut down. 70% of the hotels, 70% of the the restaurants are shut down. The reason being because they are not able to survive on their cash. cash is required to sustain your regular rental expenses, fixed labor costs. You cannot fire everybody, so you still need some people's, like for security, for maintenance, um, for the buildings. You still need offices because you already have equipments, you already have things which you cannot throw away. So you still need space as a rental or as a property tax. If the business has no income, it's very difficult for them to run their businesses. So cash burn is a very important thing. Even though now you can survive by, let's say, taking a loan, your business will survive, then coronavirus will go away, and then we will be back into the business, we will be able to generate the cash. But what we need to do is we need to learn the lesson from what we have been facing now and build a better cash burn resilience for in case anything of similar scale happens in the world. And uh, with the uh, with the current environmental changes, current pandemic changes, current political situations around the world, it's not unforeseen, or it's not very distant that we may face these kind of situations again. So with more likelihood of crisis times, CFOs need to build the resilience for cash burn. uh, we need to have a crisis contingency plan for cash burn. So we need to understand what are the levers that are driving the cash in our company, and plan which will have a larger impact on our business to extend the runway. So some businesses, the largest driver of the cash is rental, because maybe their warehouses rental, their offices are rental, maybe their factories are rental. Fixed machines, does not cost extra cash, but you may need to have the manpower to maintain those kind of things. So some businesses may have higher labor costs which they don't want to release, because they have trained them well, and they think that the business will continue to come in maybe next 6 months, next 1 year. So they don't want to release them for now. So what they have to do is they have to manage the cash to pay, right? Because the employees, they need to be paid, because they all have their personal expenses. If the business is not taking care of those personal expenses, the employees have to look for something else, and that may cause them to switch the industries, switch the careers, and the companies may lose their star talents, right? Because they may not come back. So the businesses have to prepare a contingency plan. What's the most important for the business to continue spending upon, and how they can manage it to have a larger runway. So this is emergency planning, and we have to keep it on updating, even though we pass the pandemic in let's say, in a better hope into by 2022. If the pandemic is over, then beyond it, we still need to have a contingency plan. We still need to have a crisis plan. That's where many of the businesses now are not surviving anymore, because they didn't have contingency plan. They didn't have a backup, or how they are going to manage the cash flow. They have to switch their gears immediately. Some of them were successful, some of them were not successful. So we need really prompt reports to pull the data for analytics, because the situations keep on changing. The levers of the cash burn are going to change over a period of time. So we need to keep an eye on all these levers, on how we are spending the money, where we are spending the money, and for that we need data, right? So you need to have your P&L, you need to have all the year-to-date numbers, so that we can understand what are the analytics. So we need to have a prompt report to pull the data for analytics. So it's now, some companies were not preparing their profit and loss statement of financial statements maybe for a quarter, for a month, for a year. They have to do it now for every month. So the best practice is always a monthly statements, so that we could understand faster what is happening in our business. Then we need to also have a very clear and open communication with the stakeholders. Now, during this pandemic, we have learned that alone we cannot survive. Everybody is have a stake in our business. They have suppliers, they have customers, they have administration, governments, employees, all of this are stakeholders. Employees need salary from us, supplier need payment from us, customer need to pay us, and government needs their taxes. So how we managed during this during this pandemic is we initially we had no idea, right? When it hit us, we had no plans, and we were caught off guard, right? We didn't really prepare our communication. Some businesses, they foresighted and estimated, okay, we're gonna have problem. So they started with the communication with the stakeholders immediately that we may default in our businesses. So you talk to your suppliers, how we are going to pay. We talk to our customers how we are going to collect. In hospitality industry, as of now, almost 100% of the outstandings which were there as of the starting of the coronavirus time, maybe only 25% of them are collected. The rest of 75% are gone. We don't know when these businesses will start and we will be able to recover the money. Similar way, the government has not been reducing the taxes because they thought it's a short-term phenomena. But with the pandemic being extended and the impact on the business is extending beyond the time, even if the pandemic tomorrow ends, the business is not going to come immediately, right? So it's going to take some time for it to recover. So it means that we are not only talking about during the pandemic time, we are also talking about the future of the time. And we need to build a flexibility with our stakeholders, with our suppliers, with our with our employees, with our governments and the customers. To give you a very simple example, like when we had no cash to burn in the hotels which were closed for a year, after that we exhausted all our resources. Now we turn back to our employees and say, okay, we are now no more cash, right? So we still had some to run away. Now, how did we manage? So we had an open communication with them and say, okay, this is what is the current situation, these are the some options that we are having and how much it will impact. And based on the agreement with the employees to take care of their needs and also the company needs for better cash burn, we selected few options and we keep on updating them, because it's not like it's a one not a one time communication that we are in a trouble, now we have a communication with our stakeholders and that communication is done. It's not like this. It's need to have a regular communication with them, right? So you need to keep on updating the situation to them so that it's easier for businesses to manage the cash burn. Now, it calls for a negotiation for a quick win-win for with the suppliers and customers. Now, how do we do that? Because everybody has some points which they need. अरे ममता यार इसको बंद कर ले. So we need to have a quick win. So everybody is need something from us. There's nobody. There is not a zero sum game anymore. That you win, I lose. It has to be a win-win game. So we have been talking to our suppliers. We are offering them some cash, upfront cash, and they give us discount. Or we offer discounts to our customers for early payments, and then we get our cash, they get discounts. So either way, it's a win-win. Or we agree on a payment plan where they also don't have difficulty in paying us and we also don't have difficulty in managing our cash, so that we can pay our suppliers and collect from our customers. Similar way, we worked out with the employees quick wins like simple deferred plan. So we didn't say that, okay, we are going to reduce the payments for them. What we say is we defer their payments. So it means that whenever we have a better business, we are going to pay them back. And they also don't feel that they lose because of the thing. But of course, they understand that it's a difficult situation, so they are ready to have a deferment. So it's like equity, investing employees, investing the key peoples into the business. So that's something called negotiation for a quick win with the supplier. So that's again how we build the cash burn resilience. uh, in our business. So it's not only this time, it has to continue over a period of time in the coming days. And since the business is not going to be quickly turning around for many industries, for some industries, it's already being booming. We see around the world, the manufacturing data has been very good. The GDP growths are there, but some businesses are still struggling, especially with the travel and tourism and luxury, because of the low disposable incomes around the world, low and a lot of restrictions over the traveling. Businesses are still struggling. So this focus is still going to be there for at least next 2 to 3 years, to continue to have a cash burn resilience. Now, the next thing which the CFOs need to do is to explore the government support. So, governments come up with a lot of plans with to handle the situation, to handle the crisis. So, the CFOs are and comparing, exploring the government support, exploring the packages, insurance to survive in the business. Right. So that was the first focus. The second focus is on the creating the effective budgets and forecast during the uncertainties. Now we had a seminar, we had a conference last few weeks back where we were discussing about how do we do a budget and forecast during the uncertainties. So the details are there, but here we are going to talk about a little bit why we need to do that. Budgeting and forecasting as is used to be understood as a fixed tool. So you do the budget one time, and then you keep on forecasting for every 3 months or every 6 months to have a update where we are going to reach the budget or we are not going to reach the budget and do a course correction. Now, during these times, the CFOs, like my focus is going to be that how do we build a budget, because the past performance are not going to be any indicative of future potential, and future potential and future course of action is again uncertain, because we don't know when the pandemic is going to end and when the businesses are going to rebound, what will be the consumers preferences, what will be their spending power, what will be their interest in many different products. So we have a lot of uncertainties at this point of time. So the next focus for the CFOs is going to be how we create proper budget and forecast to still guide us, because budgeting and forecasting is very very important for the business, because it gives visibility to the team into the future. Even though we cannot see the future, we don't, it's not a crystal ball, but it gives a visibility, some kind of visibility into the future. So we do forecast short term nowadays. We do it every month, and we do it only for next 3 months, because we cannot see very clearly what's going to happen after 3 months, right? So we now the best practices around the budget and forecast is to do it is to do it quickly, like short term, every month, every 2 months, and do it for a short period of time. So we don't do any more like 5 year plan or 3 year plan or 1 year plan, because those plans have no meaning. We cannot really see that far. We still need to have some like long term planning, to because some of the expenses are going to be committed for a long term success of a business. But we, since we cannot 100% sure that when are we going to be able to see that future or not, so we have to build flexibilities into the business. So forecasting gives a visibility to the team, because as per a survey by Deloitte, 64% of the CFOs expect to use the changing environment to redesign the business itself. So now there are many businesses who are redesigning the business, who are redesigning their business models, who are pivoting from one business to another business, or from one market segment to another market segment, or extending these services, or going vertical or going horizontal. Many education businesses has been now turning into digital learning space. They are forced to do that, because otherwise they will be closed. The schools, the physical school for secondary and primary, over time, overnight, have to turn into from a physical 100% physical school to a 100% online school. Now, even though they are not 100% perfect, but they are able to teach the kids. So these kind of and changing, these kind of redesigning into the business is going to be frequent. we may have to change from one to another system. So hence the budgeting and planning activities are more frequent. We have to do it more frequent because of the changes in the environment. Now, the next thing that we do at the moment in the budgeting and forecasting is that we find the growth levers of the business to understand their impact. Then we set up a consistent process for forecasting, and we normally do it like monthly for the next 3 months. So that's what I do at the moment. I look at my on the books and the future next 3 months, and continue to do it for next 3 months every single month. So we, even though we prepare a budget for the whole year, but we are not really following that budget. We follow the forecast that we are preparing every single month for the next 3 months, and that drives our strategies on how we are going to survive in the business, right? And whenever we look at the changes in the environment, like new variants or ease of travel restrictions, or imposing of new travel restrictions, or changing behaviors in the social economy of the country, we change our business plans, we change our business models. So that is something every CFO and CEO are doing now. They understand what is the growth lever of the business at this point of time and what is the potential, and then they set up a consistent process to do the forecasting, and ideally majority is the monthly for the next 3 months. Then the another best practice is that we build the forecast bottom up. Usually we use the zero based budgeting. We have a webinar, or we have a course on my CPE. If you are interested in zero based budgeting, you can look at that. Rather than we go about the outsized assumptions around the industry, say industry is going to grow at this level and we will be able to capture some portion of this industry. We don't use those kind of assumptions for making the businesses. So now we do the zero based budgeting, where we look at every single activity of the business and say whether it's still relevant in the current environment or not. If not, then how are we going to replace it? If yes, are we optimized with it? Are we allocating enough resources to this business activity? Right. So every business has to rethink their business model when they are doing it. Zero-based budgeting is not a easy exercise. It requires a lot of investment. It requires a lot of efforts from the top management and from the middle management to think it through, prepare the different assumptions, prepare the different scenarios, and choose the best. So even though you may want to do it once, but you still need to keep it updated every 3 months or every 6 months, so that the budgets that we are preparing, the zero-based budget and the forecast that we are preparing, remains relevant. So the bottom-up approach is very important. We cannot do the top-down approach like in the past we used to do, where the budgets used to come from the top, and we agree on those budgets, right? And we just follow through these budgets. Now the budget has to be made from the scratch, based on the market understanding, and then we prepare the budgets to the upside, right? How much profitability, how much total revenue we are going to create. And the most important thing in current environment is that we need to look at the focus on maybe 3 or 4 KPIs at one point of time for tracking and forecasting. We should not try to forecast everything. We should not try to focus on achieving every single KPI, because that will put a strain on the company's resources. So, like for example, now in hospitality industry, we focus at the moment only on driving the business or capture the market growth. So we don't care about the rates, we don't care about the brand image, we do care about them, but we're not really focusing on that. What we are focusing on to get as many as visitors in our hotels, whether by doing promotions, by doing discounts, by doing inspirational posts, by whatever is it. So that's one KPI. Then another KPI is their satisfaction during the stay in the hotel. That's the another important thing, because otherwise they will not keep coming back. So that's what we need to track. Otherwise there's nothing else that we want to track at the moment. And the cash burn. So there are only 2 3 things that we focus on at any given point of time. So This keeps our efforts in check, keeps our efforts and keeps our resources also in a tight vacuum, so that we are not overstretching ourselves. So that's the second focus, creating effective budgets and forecasts during the uncertainty, and we follow the zero-based budgeting for it. The best way to do this uncertainty is to have it every single month, more frequent, and for a short period of time. So that's and focus on fewer than four KPIs at one point of time. So that's the summary of this. Then the next the third thing that we are going to focus on the next 1 year or 2 years or 3 years of the time is automation and digitalization tool to your advantage. Now you know that all the businesses are many of the businesses are working from home. Google, Microsoft, Twitter, Deloitte, accounting firms, consulting firms, they all are asking their employees to work from home. And this requires them to have heavily invest into digitalization of the communication system and also the document storage, approval processes, expense approval processes, accounting processes, to have an automation, because the number of physical peoples at single location are going to be limited, and it's going to be spread over the place. The digitalization and automation are very important, that the CFOs need to use for their advantage. So basically, the process it is at the moment we see what are we doing on papers, or what are we doing on Excel, or what are we doing manually at this point of time. Then we look at it how we can make it automated or digitalized. Then that there are many tools or many companies which are offering the automation, which are offering the digitalization of our processes. So the most common processes which are getting automated are the in expense approval processes, the travel claims, the accounting like bank reconciliation, accounts receivable or accounts payable, where now there are apps which can scan your invoices and the accounting is done automatically by the system, artificial intelligence. The digitalization of your storage, of your documentation, of your contracts, of your any other equipments or any other processes that you need to maintain are getting digitalized. So these are automation and digitalization. These save the time and also prepare the business for any disruption. Let's say there is a disruption of the terrorism or a war. If the business is digitalized already, then they don't need to worry about the physical space anymore. They can operate from anywhere in the world to anywhere, right? So that's the benefit of automation and digitalization. So CFOs are going to focus on the automation and digitalization. There are accounting softwares, cloud softwares like Zoho Books, Zero, and and there are many others, right? So you can look at those accounting softwares, QuickBooks. Then there are payroll processing softwares which are helping to manage the peoples, even though even though there are RFID system or NFC systems where you don't need to take the attendance, so you can track where by the mobile location of the employees that the employee is present in that place or not. Let's say you are working overseas, or you are working remotely, but during the time if you really want to manage the person where they are, you just need to share their GPS, so they know whether they are at their home or whether they are walking around. So if they are not supposed to be walking around, then you know they are not present. So that's kind of attendance systems are happening now, and the payroll processing is done automatically. The payroll processing is going to be even more complicated because employees are based in different locations. So some of your employees may be located in India, some of them may be Philippines, some of them may be Dubai, some of them may be in Europe, and you need to comply with the local payroll regulations, because at the moment there is no regulation in the world where you can say that they are our remote employees. So you need to apply the labor laws where you are based. So you need to apply the labor law where the employee is based. So we have to pay, by the legal definitions, we have to pay the payroll as per the local regulations. So companies are finding it difficult to pay the payroll and also to process it. Then there are procurement, expense approval systems, management apps, dashboards, and data visualization. So Power BI or Tableau helps in data visualization and dashboards. There are CRMs and invoicing or subscription management softwares, which helps the businesses to automate their billing system, automate their emailing system, automate their follow-ups, automate the invoicing. So there are so many things where the businesses can use to their advantage and reduce the manpower, reduce the processing time, and make and happen the switch faster. When you are changing the business model, the softwares and the apps are are also helping to enable the business model change immediately. So not a property based system, so they it gives a flexibility of the cloud storage, it gives a flexibility of the security of the data, because you don't have to worry about the data backup anymore or the hacking, because these big companies have a better security system compared to a smaller standalone companies. But the only thing that we face, or we need to be aware of, that all of these tools and pieces need to integrate with each other, because you cannot have a accounting system which does not talk to the payroll. Otherwise, you have to key in manually. Expense or procurement also need to talk to the accounting software. CRM, invoicing have to talk to the accounting software. Accounting software also need to talk to the data visualization tools. So the integration of all these tools, whichever the company is using, is very, very important. That's why nowadays the apps, which are like super apps, which give everything, the accounting, payroll, meetings, are on rise. They are being developed, or the integrations or the APIs being developed so that they can integrate with each other, and it helps them to manage the processes in a faster and a fair way. So that's the third focus that the CFOs, I think, would be spending time on. These things will also help the business to get more resilient towards any disruption that any future pandemic or any global war or any environmental changes, impact from environmental changes are going to bring. The environmental changes are again very frequent nowadays. There are a lot of typhoons, lot of floodings happening around the world. So they all disrupt the businesses. That was the but before we need to also understand the concept of hyper automation. Hyper automation, there are tasks which are judgment based, and there are tasks which are rule based. And there are tasks, and the automation is at the task level or at the process level or the process orchestration. So the idea nowadays is that the rule based transaction are all get automated, 100% automated, right? Where the judgment is increasing, when you need to have a better judgment, there the at the moment it's not really automated, right? So we are the now the companies are actually working to have a hyper automation for the tasks which are judgment based, higher judgment based. So that's the idea. Now, the next thing that the CFOs are focusing on is to align our business model with changing customer behavior and expectations. So, what the customers need, they want the company to be multi-channel, means the distribution has to be multiple channels. Maybe if, let's say, a company is doing a streaming service, it may have, like now the news. If you would see, if you would notice, the news channels are now multi-channel. They are not more on no more only satellite only. They are sending the breaking news on Twitter, which has a link to of their news to their website. They have a YouTube live, which is streaming the whole day live channels of their satellite version, so that you can see on the way, on the go. And then they have Facebook, for breaking news or for short stories, and they do also have Instagram for picture reports, and they are also having paper version, printed version, or email newsletters. So they are gonna send you a good morning bullet, so that you can see what is happening in the world in a single tap of time. So this the concept is multi-channel, right? They are even nowadays on the WhatsApp or the instant messaging apps, where they are preparing the bullets and sending over the WhatsApp message, because the peoples are consuming the content everywhere and in every devices. So the businesses also have to be multi-channel. They cannot say that I'm a physical store, then I'm done, I don't need to be anything else. That's not the right approach. The businesses has to be multi-channel nowadays. Then they want everything fast. The consumers have no patience. You will see the as per the many research, the our focus, our human attention is less than of a jellyfish or goldfish. It's 3 seconds or less than 3 seconds. So we want we have no time to focus on anything. So we want everything and everything fast. If we are going to a hotel and we try to log into the Wi-Fi, if it doesn't work, we immediately switch to our data model. If the data is not working well, then we immediately switch this. We immediately switch the same. So we need everything fast, and twice as fast. So businesses has to be fast. So websites has to be fast. They have to be a low loaded one, so that they load faster and the customer can start interacting with them. The response of the consumer queries has to be fast enough, 24/7. That's why a lot of businesses are now having third party customer service centers, so that they don't have to have 24/7 support by themselves, but they rely on the third party call centers to help in the 24/7 services. Then the consumer need free stuff, but they still want to pay for the premium one. There are many who want to pay premium. With the digital economy, everything is getting free, especially the information and the news and the contents, the learnings is they're getting democratized. Like I also teach online, and many of my content is on free websites, where people don't have to pay anything. They just have to go register and learn the course. But there are many people's, but the catch is nothing comes free. There's no free lunch in the world. What they are selling is their attention, and there are many ads. You finish one lesson of 5 minutes, there is an ad. You finish another lesson of 5 minutes, there is another ad. So means you are selling your attention, and the platform is making money from the ads. But there are many people who don't want ads, so they buy the premium version of the course and watch it free of ads, fast and finish faster, right? So that's the catch every company is doing. They give out free stuff, which is also valuable. Is not free. Free means cheap. They are valuable, but they still have some premium content, like instant access, or the first write of the review, or the archive of the previous years, previous days, into their mobile apps, so that they can get the information very quickly, very easily. So the consumers want free stuff, but they still pay for the premium. So that's the businesses also have to now have to change, have to align their business with the that business behavior. Then there are want to access the you via the digital giants. So they are Facebook, they are YouTube, everywhere. So the business has to be like this. Then there is a total mindset shift, not just a new segment. So the businesses are also need to update their themselves into the new market segment itself, new mindset, new customers at all. So not just a shift in the market segment, but a shift in the products and services. Pivot the services what they are doing. Sometimes we have to go more niche than where we are, or we have to sometimes go broader than which what we are doing. The fourth focus that we feel the business will have is hybrid workforces, work offices. We already see many companies are going remote, right? And many companies are still asking the people to come to the offices because they are not digitalized, or the task, there are some tasks that cannot be done digitalized. They have to be on the workplace, on site. LinkedIn has just started a new feature on, if you would have noticed, and you when you are posting a job post, when you're applying a job post, you will see where this position is. Is it on site, off site, or a hybrid? So hybrid is a new word where we say that the office is a flexible office where you may not have a seat, but you may have a place to sit. uh, you may have a choice to go, but you don't have to go to the office, right? So the crisis has taught us that we can work in silos and remotely. However, there are some benefits, where there are still some benefits of working together, and there are some disadvantages of working in silos and remotely, because we are not able to connect if either the human connection is missing. So there are benefits of working in silos, but there are disadvantages as well. There are disadvantages of working physically. There are politics, there are higher costs, but there are certain advantages as well. So we need to, now that as the businesses are now going to think, or they are already thinking about the hybrid workplace to reap the benefits of both the worlds. The remote work, where we give the flexibility to the people to come and work remotely, but we still want them to provide a place where they can meet and socialize with their employees, with their associates and their team members, so that the team building and the workspace is more harmonious. So we need to spend the tools and processes to enable the remote work and still the collaboration. So we need to invest in. There are many apps to have a remote workplace, like Zoom for Business, and there are others, Blue Jeans. There are many apps nowadays which are working to enable the remote work, to monitor the remote work, like desktop recording and system recording device applications, which are checking upon how much is the work is done, whether the work is done or not, and the collaboration. So like emails, sharing of documents, working together on the same document at the same time. So those kind of things are happening. So the businesses have to spend on those tools. Some of these tools are available for free, but many of these tools are premium, and they have much more benefits, which when it compares to the free version. So the important tools can be categorized into few things like meetings, where we have Zoom, Google Meet, or other softwares. Then we have notes and document sharing, where we are sharing sensitive documents. You cannot share all sensitive files over the Zoom, or you cannot send everything by email as well. Sometimes it may be easier when you have a document and we are working together on the same document at the same time, and annotating it so that the notes are taken at the same time. So we have apps we which enables that kind of notes sharing and document sharing. And then we need to have some tools. We have some tools on projects and task management, like Slack or Trello, or other softwares. If you search the app library of the App Store or the Google or the Android, you will see a lot of task management tools. Some of them are free, some of them are good, and some of them are worse. So you need to find a project management or task management tool, so that you can have a follow up, because you don't see the person in future in the face-to-face meetings, but you need to have some kind of tool. Then there are quick communication, official and not so official. So there are like instant messaging, Slack, Trello. Again, they work as a task management tool and also as a quick communication. So for official communication, you may need to have some channels, and not so official communication, you can use Messenger, or now that even the Messenger are running, like Messenger for Facebook for work. So that is for official chat. So there are many apps nowadays who are coming into this space to enhance the collaboration among the peoples. Then you need to rethink the office capacity as well, because we want to control the rent and other management expenses, but yet we still want some space for our peoples to have a collaboration, like hybrid office, right? So we have to think about that, and we need to train and hire talent for remote work who has better accountability and less burnout and stress. Talking about the burnout, every many nowadays, we are talking about or we are listening about in the Harvard Business Review or TED Talks, that people are getting burnout because of working in silos, working long time, no distinction between the office time and the work time because of the remote work. They are working from home, so they are getting burnout. They are getting stressed because of this. So we have, when we are hiring new peoples, or we need to train our peoples so that they can have a better accountability while they are working from remote and have a lesser burnout. So we need to have processes. There are many companies who have like a online chit chat only after every meeting, right? After, if the meeting is 1 hour, in 5 minutes between, after the meeting, maybe for 5 minutes they have a chit chat session, a networking session, where people can burn out their stress. So those kind of processes are has to be there so that the well-being of our peoples are taken care of. So that's on the hybrid work offices. Then there are, the fifth is the innovation. So because we cannot be just only surviving, right? As we have discussed earlier, that the sometimes business have to completely adapt the business model, or not in the related party, not in the related business, but in completely different business. So the innovation is very important. So we have to have a correct process, or a resilience in in our business culture to allow innovations. Innovations practically means that we will try and fail. So we have to adapt that failure. And but with the traditional financial processes like ROI and capital growth rates or NPV, innovations will not be able to finance. So we need to have the entrepreneurial culture, but it requires change in our traditional financial processes. And we have to develop the leading KPIs for performance improvement, measurable improvement in our process, in our performances. So that leading KPIs means that we are not going to track like total sales for the year. That's a laggard KPI, which means that which has already been done in the past. Leading KPIs means the processes, how we are reaching to the sales, means how many customer we have approached, how many sales, how many proposal we have sent, or what is the proposal to what is the approval rates of the proposals. So those are leading KPIs, which means we are not measuring the result, we are measuring the process through the to reach the result. So CFOs are now going to be working very hard in redesigning their KPI system, or key performance indicator system, for performance measurement from laggard KPIs, or to leading KPIs. So leading KPIs done measure the processes, while the laggard KPIs measure the result. So we are now slowly changing from leading KPI from laggard KPIs to leading KPIs, and fostering the culture of our innovation. Then the last thing is going to be on the non-finance role. So CFOs are not only accountable for their business, not only accountable for finance, but now they are also getting involved with the other roles in the business. So they are change enablers, they are the transformation leaders. So they use design thinking to drive the transformation in the organization, digital transformation or the business transformation itself. So the CFOs are now going to be the design thinkers as well. They have to lead the change. They have to be the transformational for change in the business. So that's how the business is going to change. The CFOs are going to change themselves. Then they will be the core contributing role in operations and business strategy and development. So the CFOs are changing themselves to be the core contributor in the business strategy and development. Like me, I am now helping my business in the sales and marketing development, or the digital marketing strategies, or even in quality survey of the quality aspects of the businesses. Because that's not, finance is the core, yes, but we are also helping our businesses in non-core, non-finance cores, so that we are contributing in overall business strategy. So you will see many of the CFOs are growing into the role of CEOs, and the only reason why they succeed in those roles is because they are contributing to the operations and business strategy. And in the future, 2022 and beyond, there will be many CFOs who will transit into the role of CEOs by focusing on non-finance roles. They are CFOs are communicators. Are clear thinkers because they are thinking in finance, so they can understand the financial numbers better than anyone else. But we also have to be the clear communicator of the situations of the current crisis, of the current situation of the company, and deliver a right message to all the audience where they are able to make a correct decision. We also have to focus on the mental health and wellness of the team. So CFOs are not only going to be working on the financial reporting and processes, but also on the mental health and wellness. So how they are going to do that? They are going to do that by having like yoga sessions or leading them to the wellness programs of the organization. Make sure there are processes to have a stress busting, less burnout, and have a high trust environment, because when we are working remotely it's very difficult to trust each other, right? We have to have processes where we can trust each other as well. Then the another focus is going to be the data security. Now, since we are talking about the digitalization, we are talking about the automation, it requires all the data to be in the systems. So the data security and its integrity is a very critical factor. If if anybody is able to hack into the systems, then the entire data, the personal data, the customer data, or the company strategic data is stolen, then the survival of the company itself or the business itself will be in trouble. So that's another known finance role which the CFOs are taking. Even though CFOs may not be the IT experts, but they need to learn the cyber security laws because they are handling a lot of data, right? And the finance team also is the creator of the data, so they have to be very good at following the cyber security best practices, so that they are not the one who are leading to the leakage of data. And the last one, and the not the least one, is the diversity and inclusion. Now, since the teams are remote and we have a lot of peoples who are working in diversity, and they are of different colors, and the world is getting more and more aware of the racial discrimination and the or the participation of women's and of the peoples of the color. So the diversity and inclusion is again another process where CFOs are also playing a key role, so that the organizations are more inclusive and are accepting the diversity in the business. So those are the few areas where the CFOs are going to be participating or going to be focusing in the next few years to come. Now let's do a quick poll to see what are your views on different aspects. Yes, we can. Yes, please. Yeah, I think the only apart from what we have discussed, the key focus of the roles of the CFOs in the future, apart from the business and the cash or the digital security or cyber security, is going to be more on innovative thinking and inclusive of decision making, because that's a very important aspect. To show that we care about the peoples rather than on the business. We have talked we have I have skipped one part which is also very important for the next few years to come, is the environment. So now there's an increasing focus on the ESG part, environment, social and the governance part of the business, where we are all the businesses, all the governments are committing towards in zero carbon footprint or even negative carbon footprint. So the businesses also are going to focus on the capital investment, which enables us to have better impact over our environment and over our societies and the governance. So that's I think the pretty much all we have to all I have to share today.